Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you had an enjoyable weekend. Hope you're ready for another week. And we need to kick this thing off with some words from the Lord so that we can faith the day and faith the week in the way that He wants us to. Psalm 39. Um, let me just read some of it, and you'll see where I'm going. Listen to what David says. He says, Lord, he says, make me to know my end. I'm starting in verse 4, by the way, of Psalm 39. He says, make me to know my end and what is the measure of my days, that I may know how frail I am. Indeed, you have made my days as handbreadths, and my age is as nothing before you. Certainly, every man at his best state is but vapor. Surely every man walks about like a shadow. Surely they busy themselves in vain. He heaps up riches, and he does not know who will gather them. So you know what David is saying right here, what he's asking God? He's saying, God, he's saying, God, I'm asking you to help me to have the right perspective on my life. Teach me, Lord, and show me how short and how fragile my life really is so that I can focus on the correct things. Make me to know the end of my days. Make me to know what's the measure of my days so that I can know how frail I am. You've made my days like handbreadths. I think a handbreadth is a measurement of 4 fingers. And so in essence, what he's saying the way you measure my life is so short and my life is so small that you can measure it with your hand. He says, my age is nothing before you. He says, every man at his best state is a vapor. Every man in his prime, every man in his vigor, every person at their best is like a vapor. In James chapter 4, verse 14, he says, life is a vapor that appears for a second and then it's gone. At best, we're here and then we're gone and there's nothing left. He said, every man walks about like a shadow. They busy themselves in vain. There's an emptiness to the way that we busy ourselves. We heap up riches and we do not know who will gather them. Let me tell you something. Being in the position that I'm in, I've walked with a lot of people through the last days, weeks, months of their lives. I've walked with a lot of families through the last days, weeks, months of the lives of a loved one. I'm gonna be real honest with you. I've never, ever, ever heard anyone say, I wish I had just made a little bit more money. Never. Or I wish he had made a little bit more money. I've never heard anyone wish that there had been more beach houses, more boats, more four-wheelers, more sports cars. I never heard anyone wish that a person had achieved more of those kind of things. I have heard things like this. I was not the spouse that my spouse deserved. I have heard people say, I missed a lot of my kids when they were growing up because I was too busy off doing this or doing that. I have heard that. Let me tell you something. If we could really get a grasp of how short our days are and of how short our life is, it would change our focus and it would change the priorities of our lives. So he goes through that, and in verse 7, he says, now, Lord, what do I wait for? My hope is in you. In essence, after he's taken stock of his life and realized how short and how frail and how fragile it really is, he says, I don't even know what I'm waiting for. It's time for me to surrender to you. It's time for me to submit to you and to make you a part of my life. Look, I'm not telling you that you shouldn't prepare for a future in this life and that you shouldn't be responsible and have a job and provide for your family. That's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is that's this life, which is gone in a flash. And if you're going to spend that much effort preparing for it, you might want to spend some effort preparing for the next life as well. You might want to spend some time preparing your family for the next life. You might want to spend some time getting ready for the kingdom of God. Look, there's so many things that we strive for here that aren't going to make a hill of beans difference, even in the lives of our family after we're gone. Let's number our days. Let's let's see and look at and ask God to show us the end of our days and the measure of our days so that we can know how frail we are, so that our priorities can change and can shift. Hey, use these words to help you this week in the way that you look at and pursue life, and get out there and faith the day with Psalm 39. Love you guys. By the way, if you didn't come join us yesterday, you missed it. That's all I can say. You just missed it. There's always next week. Just teasing. God bless. Bye.